Welcome to the Entrepreneur on Campus podcast. Let's go. My name is Matthew Brown. I am a student, I am an entrepreneur, and I love learning. I've created this podcast to help you discover hidden opportunities. In this interview with Evan Chymboryk, we talked about Amazon businesses, FBA. Evan does extremely well in the Amazon space. He has a product with over 2,000 reviews, and he's launched over 10 different products and has done extremely well, and he really understands how the Amazon business works. Besides just talking about Amazon, we talked about e-commerce in general. We talked about working with Shopify. We talked about drop shipping, and we talked about kind of the pros and cons of different e-commerce businesses. And Evan was awesome. He was able to share a lot of valuable insights that are very applicable to know, for example, how to go out and find a product that is going to work and sell well on Amazon, how much you have to buy on your first order, and kind of the problems and the opportunities that exist with Amazon businesses. And so hopefully you can look into this and see if it's something that you're interested in. Here it is with Evan Chymboryk. Awesome. Today I'm here with Evan Chymboryk. Is that how you say your last name?
Yeah, Chymboryk.
Chymboryk.
Ukrainian, so it's
Awesome.
A little hard.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I'm excited to be here to learn more about you, about what you're doing. And can you go ahead and just kind of describe your process of what you've been up to over the past couple of years? And as you're doing so, do you mind just speaking into the mic? I just have one mic right now. So,
yeah. So I mean, it's kind of a big question, but just like a brief overview, I guess, would be I graduated 2015 and didn't really have any job lined up. So I came across this really kind of spammy looking, it's one of those like 20-page websites that you scroll down and it's like just like a big sale about how to sell on Amazon. And I thought it was a scam, honestly, at first. And then I looked more into it and it seemed, pretty legit. So that's kind of how I found out about Amazon. And then I spent the next few months basically researching product and trying to figure out what I wanted to sell. And then, probably 4 or 5 months later, I launched my first product and have been selling, it's been 4 years now. So
4 years. And have you launched a lot of products in that time, or?
So I think I have maybe 10 SKUs right now total. So not, and most of those are pretty recent. So I stuck with one product for probably the first 2.5 years or so, and then started branching out a little bit more. But yeah, kind of stuck with one from the beginning. And
are those in different industries or mostly in the same industry?
Yeah, same area.
Cool. So you've had a couple years of experience. Do you sell strictly through Amazon, or do you have other platforms?
So, I mean, yeah, basically it's all on Amazon. I have a Shopify store that I'm trying to kind of drive more traffic to, just as like a safety net, basically. But it's 95% on Amazon. So I'd like it to be 50-50. Yeah. Or even less, but yeah, right now it's mostly Amazon.
Right. Just because of the fear that Jeff Bezos makes some kind of policy change.
For sure. Well, yeah, and it happens. Like I've had a few scary moments, and every time one of those happens, I'm like, man, I gotta really focus on Shopify because this is scary. Yeah. So.
Cool. Yeah. Can you tell me how did you go about, so you saw this sales message, right? And then from that point, what did you do to start selling on Amazon?
Yeah. So it was actually, I'm trying to remember the name of it, is a course called like Ecom Masters. So I bought the course, and it like takes you step by step through like the whole process of research and your listing and everything, images, which at this point is totally not necessary because there's so many resources. Like one that I always recommend people, it's called The Amazing Seller. It's a guy named Scott Volker, and he outlines like the whole process for free. So anyone that's interested can go to his website. It's called theamazingseller.com. I'm not affiliated with him at all, but it's a good resource. So I actually listened to him as well at the same time. But yeah, it's kind of like I don't know if you want me to go into product research.
I would love to hear about it. Yeah.
So kind of the basic of what people do is there's software called Jungle Scout, or there's some other ones like I think there's one called like Unicorn Smasher. I don't know if it still works, but basically what it does is you can go to Amazon's website and type in any keyword like kitchen spatula, for example, or something, and it'll obviously give you a list of like the top selling kitchen spatulas. And what Jungle Scout does is it pulls out all the information and gives you like an estimated sales for each listing, like how much they're selling per month, and then you can kind of see like their reviews, like how many reviews they have, which is sort of an indication of how competitive it's going to be. So ideally what you're trying to look for, at least according to The Amazing Seller, his advice is you try to find products that you can sell about 10 a day and that have reviews probably under like 100 or 200 reviews per listing of like the main ones in that category. And sort of what that's letting you know is that there's like a decent amount of sales volume in the category, but it's not like super competitive. Because if you launch a product, like for example now my little niche, the top few people have like one of my top products has over 2,000 reviews. Another guy has 2,000 reviews. Someone else, there's a few people that have over 1,000. And so to get that many reviews to kind of compete, would take you forever.
Yeah.
And sorry, I don't know if you can hear that in the mic, but
Doggy.
She's chewing on a toy. But yeah, it'd be too hard and too competitive to get in because like it's sort of like a chicken and the egg thing where you need sales to get reviews.
Right.
But no one's going to buy your product when there's someone with 2,000 reviews and you have like 3.
So you're looking for
Right.
some kind of market that has maybe people that are selling, they have 80 reviews, 90 reviews, 150, because that's manageable. That's something that you could actually reach.
Yeah, for sure. And then just making sure that there's still the sales volume. So I mean, like if you could find a category that had that small amount of reviews and then people were selling like 300 a day, that'd be great, right? It's just hard. It's hard to find those.
So what's typical if there's somebody has 150 reviews? How many are they usually selling a day? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, no. So it totally depends.
Yeah.
That's not really an indication of
software,
sales.
you said Jungle Scout, that will tell you kind of.
Yeah. So the way that they estimate sales is Amazon gives, they call it bestseller ranking for each category. So like you can go to any listing and I can't remember what section it's in, but it'll show the bestseller ranking for each product, and it'll say like number 162 or something.
You can just look up top 100 in Amazon, and then you can click the different categories.
Yeah. So they just have a ton of data, and they basically figure out, okay, what does number 160 in that category mean in terms of sales? So they just do like a pretty decent job. It's not perfect, but it's like a decent estimation.
You say it's a free tool to use?
No, so I think it's $120. You know what? I actually think that's how it used to be. I think it's a monthly thing now, actually, or maybe it's like a yearly subscription.
Okay.
But I think Unicorn Smasher's free, but I haven't checked that for a long time.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha. So jumping back really fast before talking more about Amazon, there's a couple different ways that you could go about. Is Amazon FBA? Is that drop shipping? What is that?
So no, it's usually what people call private label, which basically means you're sourcing a product, usually something that's already like created in China. Like they already have the product in China, and you're just putting your label on it. So but you want to change it. You don't want to just be like the 10th spatula that looks the exact same, right? Just with your branding on it. But that's normally what people mean.
Okay, so you'll talk to some factory in China, and you'll say, okay, this is what I want, and can you ask them for different modifications? And
Yeah, usually.
do you have to buy in bulk?
Yeah. So that's the downs. So the upside, I mean, I don't do any drop shipping, but the upside for sure with drop shipping that I understand is that you're just buying unit by unit once you have an order already. So
Right.
there's very little risk involved. Your main risk, I think, is just the advertising money that you're putting in Facebook ads or whatever up front. With FBA, you're probably not going to be able to order anything less than $2,000 to $3,000 worth of inventory at a time, and then you're shipping it overseas too.
Right.
So
it's a bigger investment, but once it gets to the FBA warehouses, then it's shipped out from Amazon very quickly, very rapidly.
Yeah.
Whereas the downside to drop shipping is, I
Like
could
14-day shipping
or 20 or 30
Yeah.
even it can be, right? But it's less risky in that sense.
Yeah.
So how do you know, or do you not know, that you have a good product before investing $2,000 or $3,000?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a few things you can do. You're obviously going to get product samples before you place an order. So, you find the product, you ask them to make a little variation on it that you think will be an improvement and add value, and then you get a sample. If the sample looks good.
How long do those take to come, samples?
It's not too long, honestly. Like, I've had people send me stuff like 3 to 4 day shipping.
Wow.
So they try to like turn it around pretty fast.
And
usually.
You don't pay for that, or you do?
It depends.
Yeah.
So some people, yeah, but if you're already like a client, it's always free.
Yeah.
So
do you find these manufacturers through like AliExpress, Alibaba? What's the difference between Alibaba and AliExpress?
So Alibaba is basically like a catalog of manufacturers, and AliExpress is more like Chinese Amazon. So you find like individual products. You can buy in bulk from AliExpress, but it's more of like a product catalog, whereas Alibaba is more of like a manufacturer catalog.
I've seen drop shipping mostly done with AliExpress. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you find one of those manufacturers, you get them to send you a sample. You look at the sample, you say, this is what could be better, and you see if they can make that change, and then from there you...
Yeah. So then the next step you can really do is Alibaba has a list of third-party inspection agencies. So you're definitely going to want to do that. It's definitely worth it. It's like $100, and like let's say you order 500 units for your first order, they'll randomly pick maybe like 150 or 200 units from what was produced and do a really thorough inspection and send you like a 20-page PDF of like any issues and blah blah blah, like all that stuff. The other thing that helps is before your manufacturer starts the manufacturing process, you can let them know like, hey, I'm gonna have a third-party inspector come, once you finish production before we ship out. So usually they'll kind of do their own quality control because they know that they're gonna have to replace units, that are not up to code or whatever, not up to standard. So that helps a lot.
Yeah. How about any advice on picking which manufacturer to work with?
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit, I don't know, of a crapshoot. Alibaba has little badges that they have like 10-year gold seller, or I don't know, there's different little like, or they do their own like certification for different manufacturers. So that can help, but you kind of have to do your own due diligence a little bit. And then, I don't know, find someone hopefully that speaks English fairly well, or like so they have someone that speaks good English that you can communicate with well. But I don't know, generally I feel like most of the top sellers on Alibaba you're probably going to have a decent experience with. But I mean, people have horror stories for sure, but I think that's probably more the exception. Yeah. But I mean, you never know. So.
Right. Okay. So let's say that today I wanted to start an Amazon shop, right? So first thing I do is I do some market research. I try to find maybe something I'm familiar with, or I start looking and I go to Amazon and I find a place where, wow, reviews are pretty low, and I can see there's a lot of volume in there.
Yeah.
And then I test out a product, I find a manufacturer, and I say I like this. At that point, how do I go about doing the private labeling rights or changing that to my own name, my own brand?
That's the easy part. So, do you mean like in terms of like trademark or things like that?
Yeah,
or
trademark,
like
brand name, getting my own logo on the product. How do I do that?
I mean, so let's assume that you're not violating any patents or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which most of the time you won't be. One time I looked up, people were selling something similar to like a TRX. If you know what that is.
The bands.
Those like suspension strap things that you hang in your doorway.
Yeah, and in the gyms.
Yeah. And some people were selling those. I was like, oh, this looks like a good opportunity. And I think it was a good opportunity because it was like violating all their patents. So you have to be careful with some stuff like that. But most products that you see on Amazon, they're just kind of like general. I don't know. You're not going to have to worry about that usually. In terms of getting your logo on it, it's super easy. Like they're used to printing people's logos, so you just send them.
Who's they?
The manufacturer. Sorry.
Okay.
And you just send them like an Adobe Illustrator file with your logo, and they handle it. So it's like really easy.
Super nice. So
yeah,
it goes directly to FBA, and you don't have to touch it after that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the bigger issue that you probably need to figure out is what way are you going to add more value to the marketplace than what's currently being offered. So like another example is I looked into, do you know like what core sliders are?
No.
So they're these little like plastic discs at the gym. I think they have them a lot of times at Vasa. And you like put your feet on them and do different, like you kind of like slide them on the grass turf and do different like ab exercises.
Okay.
So I was looking into those because they fit a lot of the like checklist things that you want. Like some other things are you want it to be lightweight, like so it's easy to ship, so your shipping costs from China are low. Small, and the review to like sales ratio looked pretty good. And
are you looking for pretty low priced items as well?
No, I wouldn't sell anything under like probably $13 or $15. Like I'd probably set that as your bottom, because it gets too hard to ship. Like the shipping costs at a point are gonna stay the same.
Yeah.
So if you can, I think 20 to 30 is probably the best range. But yeah, with these core sliders, basically I got to the point where I was like about to place an order. I had my logo and everything done. And then I kind of came to this realization, like all I'm doing is competing on brand. Like I just have to try to make my brand seem sexier than the other brands because we're all selling almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not adding any value to the customer. And so at that point I was like, okay, I need to pull the plug on this because I'm just going to be another, piece of plastic on Amazon. And so I think that's probably where you want to spend your most time, trying to figure out how you can really add value to the customer.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Building a brand and yeah. Okay. So let's say that you get that all set up and you start, and the leaders in the industry have 120 reviews and you're at 0.
Yeah.
How do you go about starting to sell, and do you send samples? What do you do?
Yeah, so that's tough because you used to be able to give product away in exchange for reviews. And then Amazon really like dropped the hammer on that and has been going through, people still do it. But if they find out you're doing it, you get like a red flag on your account. And if you do it, like, I don't know how many times they give you, but you can get your account deactivated pretty quick. They're pretty hardcore. So yeah, I mean, the things that you can do are, well, if you have any kind of following, so that's why doing something like this is such a good idea, like starting a podcast, or especially if you're in school. I think if you can start any kind of like interest-based Instagram account or YouTube channel or something, if you have some audience, that's the best case scenario for launching a product, because then you have a group of people that you can say, hey, launching this product that's in the kind of the same interest that you made the page about. And they're going to be, you know, more interested in your product. And then if you follow up and ask them for like an honest review after, they're going to be more likely to help you out because you've built a relationship with them. If you don't have something like that, then really what you're doing is you're putting it up using Amazon pay-per-click advertising, so paying for some advertising. And then Amazon has their own little giveaway program. It's like $60, I think, for 5 reviews. You can do that just to get started. But yeah, it's tough. It's really hard at this point to get those initial
$60 and like they have people that you give away the product then, and it's the same concept just through Amazon.
Exactly, which is kind of weird.
They just want to get money. They want to collect money on it.
Yeah, it's weird because like the whole issue was with the FTC, and there's like a regulation where you have to disclose if you receive any compensation. So if you receive like a product at a discount, you have to disclose that in your review, just so that you're not tricking customers.
Gotcha.
So I guess Amazon must disclose it somehow, but yeah, it's kind of weird. That person that writes the review, they don't have to give you a 5-star review. They can give you whatever. Yeah. So that's the other thing is make a good product because you have very little control on Amazon over that.
How about the pay-per-click advertising on Amazon? Does that work like Google? Pay-per-click?
Same idea. So there's usually 2 spaces at the top of the page that are for sponsored products, and then usually one in the middle and then one at the bottom. And you just pay. It's usually about, it totally depends on how competitive the keywords are, but I'd say you're looking at least $1 probably per click.
Okay.
Like budget for that.
Yeah. And then as far as targeting goes, can you target pretty specifically and what you want to do?
So usually the way it works, just very generally, is you start with an automatic campaign. Amazon knows pretty well who to target. You run that for a week or 2, get the data. You can download the search term report to see like, okay, here's all the keywords that they tried, click-through rate, cost per click, all that information. Then you can take the winners, the good keywords, and put them in a manual campaign. Yeah. And then go from there.
What about driving traffic from other sources? Like, can you drive traffic to your Amazon page through Facebook?
Totally, yeah.
You can. Have you done that at all?
Not really. It's kind of expensive. The other problem is you only want to drive people to Amazon that are going to be like what they call like a qualified buyer, like someone that's already committed to buy it, because Amazon also cares about conversion rate. So if you drive like 10,000 people to your product and only like 20 people buy it, they're not going to rank your product because they want to show customers products that people are buying, right? So if there's tons of traffic going to your product and not a lot of them are converting, then that's going to hurt you more than help, and you're going to spend a lot of money.
Okay. So besides the PPC, have you seen other ways to drive traffic to your products?
Yeah, I would say the other decent option is maybe just like influencer marketing. But again, you still, something that you can do to kind of prevent the conversion issue is you can send them first to kind of like a sales funnel. And then once they go through the sales funnel and they're like, yeah, I want to buy this, then it takes them to Amazon. Yeah. So like, okay, they're already committed to buying. So that's something you could do. You could do that with Facebook too. Yeah. But depending on your niche, Facebook ads can be pretty expensive. So that you'd probably be breaking even at best doing that per sale if you were driving that way.
Cool. Okay. So how much money does Amazon take? Because it costs a certain amount to use FBA and everything, right?
Yeah, so they have a nice tool called, if you just Google Amazon FBA calculator, it'll tell you exactly what the fees will be you just find a comparable product and put that into the calculator basically, and all it's really doing is estimating the weight of that product for shipping. And then you put what you want to sell it for, what your costs are, all that, and it'll show you your margin and everything. So it's really nice. But just generally speaking, I don't know, it's hard to tell with shipping, but Amazon always takes a 15% cut, just for they call it like a referral fee basically. And then you pay their shipping, which is much cheaper than you'd be paying at a normal fulfillment center because it's subsidized through the Amazon Prime memberships. But I don't know, if you're selling something for $15, and it's a small item, shipping will probably, all your FBA fees, shipping and referral fee, are probably $5.
Okay.
Maybe $6.
Gotcha. And then you're buying it from China as well, which is another. So what kind of margin are you looking for on your product?
Yeah, so 50% is like the holy grail.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's trying to get to. I think realistically, anywhere between 30 to 50. Well, realistically, 30 to 40s is pretty good.
Yeah.
But generally, like in normal retail, like if you're selling to Walmart or a lot of stores like that, people are trying to get 10% or 15%.
Yeah.
Or like 2% or 1% if you're selling groceries or something.
Right. But they sell a massive quantity, right? Yeah. So I've looked into a couple different forms of drop shipping, selling on Amazon, ClickFunnels, a couple different things. What would you say are the biggest pros? What have you enjoyed about Amazon, working with them and your products on Amazon?
Yeah, so the benefits are you can really create a company and create a brand. More so, I mean, not entirely, but definitely more so when you're comparing to drop shipping. Because you kind of, you have your own products, you have your own brand, you can trademark your brand name, which gives you a little bit of protection. And the biggest upside is that there's something like 100 million active Amazon users, like with credit cards on Amazon. Right. So you just have this huge marketplace, right?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest advantage, is you just have a ton of traffic.
Yeah. Does it become fairly organic in the sense that once you said you have a couple thousand reviews?
Yeah.
Are you just selling without doing anything?
Yeah, totally. So there's a lot of front end work that you do, like sourcing, getting your images, all that stuff, creating your listing. But once you have all that done, you're really just kind of like managing. So maybe like a few hours a week even. It doesn't take a ton. So that's a big advantage.
So essentially what you're doing is making sure everything's working okay, and then you have to make sure that there's enough quantity in FBA. You have to keep ordering.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like supply chain, but it's pretty simple.
That becomes almost the extent of what you're doing.
And then just like making sure your pay-per-click advertising's doing well, making sure you've got the best images. Like I'll update my images every once in a while and try to do different things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's very little maintenance that you have to do, so that's a big plus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it? I know some people, like, they have products shipped to their house and then from there they ship it. What exactly, do you know what's going on with that exactly?
Are they shipping it like individual units out themselves, or are they like having it come from China to their house and then sending it to Amazon?
I think it's individual units.
Okay. I guess I can talk about both.
Yeah.
The advantage of shipping it all to your house and then all to Amazon is you can inspect every single unit yourself if you're worried about it. A lot of people do that.
Can you do that like one time and then just to see what it looks like?
Yeah, because you can tell your manufacturer to send it wherever you want. So yeah, you could do that, send it to your house for the very first order if you want, look at every single unit, then send it into Amazon. The other is called Fulfilled by Merchant. So there's Fulfilled by Amazon, obviously they're doing the shipping. Fulfilled by Merchant means you're doing the shipping yourself. I don't recommend it. One of the biggest disadvantages is generally speaking, you don't have the Prime logo, because you can't guarantee the 2-day shipping. I think if you reach a certain sales volume, you can kind of get into a program where it's like Amazon Prime and fulfilled by merchant, but you have to like meet very specific shipping
Criteria.
times, and and they kind of like monitor you, and if you fall below a certain score on your shipping, then they'll take it away. The other advantage to fulfilled by Amazon is if they make shipping mistakes, they take responsibility for it. At least in terms of your account health. So like sometimes I'll get bad account seller feedback from someone saying like my package came late, and then I just say like, hey Amazon, like this isn't my fault, and then they cross it out. But if you did fulfill by merchant, they wouldn't do that. So
cool. And have you seen, so I have a friend that has sold on Amazon, and because of the nature of his product, during parts of the year it can't be on Amazon Prime. He says that it makes a big difference when he's not on Prime versus when he is. And I'm curious, do you see that a lot? There's a lot more sales on Prime than on if you're not on Prime?
Yeah, so when I first started, there was like a year where I was having a hard time getting my product into Amazon. Like they wanted like a bunch of information, and anyway, it was just like a big process to get it actually into their fulfillment program. I was still selling on Amazon, but they wanted more information to put it in their warehouse. And so I was doing fulfilled by merchant for, it was like 10 months. And the sales were way lower. Like I was selling like 2 to 3 a day, and then instantly like 30 to 40 a day, just from being Prime.
So it's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. Yeah.
Wow. So even though you're saving on some of the margin because Amazon's not fulfilling for you, you're still honestly losing profit because your revenue decreases so significantly.
And I've actually found that, I don't know, I don't really know if shipping's that much cheaper by yourself. You still have to pay the referral fee.
Yeah.
And then, I don't really think you save much on shipping. The other thing you can think about too, when you're like, think about how you shop on Amazon. I mean, I never buy products that aren't Prime. I just don't, because
you want the fast shipping.
Yeah, you want 2-day shipping. You don't know if it's going to be 5 to 7 day or what. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I usually only buy Prime products. So that's a good way to pick products too, is you can kind of think like, okay, how would I view this?
Yeah.
Because some of the things are pretty obvious, right? Like you usually go look at the products that show like that they have 4.5 stars, and then you probably pick one of the people that has the most reviews, because you're like, oh, probably it's probably better. You don't really you don't really like investigate the product too much.
Yeah.
Usually you just look at those kind of like key indicators, and that's kind of how you make your decision. So that helps too in terms of figuring out what you need to do for your product. So
that's definitely a downside to drop shipping and Shopify. A lot of people use Shopify. You don't have to use Shopify, but is the shipping time, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot longer.
People get to the checkout and they're like 30 days.
It's 30 days.
I'm backing out. Yeah.
So you've done a little bit on Shopify as well.
Yeah.
What would you say have been the pros of that?
Okay, well, so my Shopify it's not drop shipping, and it's linked to my Amazon account.
It's not drop shipping.
Yeah, okay. No. So the way that it works for me is Amazon's still fulfilling all my products that I'm selling on Shopify, which is a super easy integration. And again, I contacted quite a few different fulfillment services.
Yeah.
And Amazon was still pretty much the best price. And
if I didn't want to sell on Amazon, I only wanted to sell on Shopify, can I still use Amazon shipping services?
I think so. Yeah. I think you just send it in like normal, and you just don't. I just think you don't create a listing. Maybe I'm not sure how that works. You probably. I mean, it'd be kind of dumb not to at least just create a listing. You might as well have it out there, because maybe someone will find it and buy it. So
right.
So you probably just create a listing, and it would work. Yeah, work fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So as far as the pros for Shopify, what have you seen?
Okay, so the pros of Shopify are that you have total control over your customers, and your listings and your store, like you have, so that's the biggest downside to Amazon, if we want to talk about that real quick, is you don't really have any control. You're playing in Amazon's playground, and it's not even stuff like, oh, they changed their policy and so now your listing isn't ranking the same. It'll be things like I've had my listing just disappear for like 4 days, just like a glitch, and you're screwed. You know, there's nothing you can do about it, and you're like calling them all day, you're freaking out. You don't know if it's ever going to come back, and
it's your full-time job.
Yeah, it's your full-time income, and then you're also worried, like, okay, well, if it comes back, am I going to lose all my momentum? You know, am I going to not be on the first page anymore? So that's happened before. I also one time had I think maybe at the time I had like 1,500 reviews, and they all got removed.
No way.
For no reason, too. Like, it wasn't like I was...
Some kind of glitch?
It was just a glitch. I wasn't like, you know, getting, like, paying for reviews or any sketchy thing like that. They just slowly... It was like excruciating to watch, because every like 10 minutes I'd update and they'd delete like 50. So it's just like this slow thing, you know, like they're like slowly removing them. And I'm like, what's going on? That took maybe 2 weeks for them to fix. And that actually messed me up permanently to some degree, because I was Amazon's choice for all the major keywords. And after the reviews got removed and then put back, my product, I believe, is ineligible to be Amazon's choice anymore, because it's back up to the top of, you know, all the keywords, but it's not Amazon's choice for anything. And that's been like a year. So I think that's just done in terms of that. Like, it's still a good product, but
like maybe they marked it to not be or
something like that. But it wasn't my fault. It just happened.
Yeah. Are they pretty easy to work with when there's issues?
Not issues like that. Because they don't really know what's going on, probably. My guess is that it's just an algorithm that they, you know, have go through the system, and it makes mistakes, and then it's not like you're talking to the guy that created the algorithm, you know. You're talking to somebody in Indonesia or something. But
in general, when you've had issues,
they're pretty good.
With.
But the other thing too, a lot of people complain about is they definitely shoot first and ask questions later. Like, if they even suspect you're doing something, they'll just take down your account, because they really want to maintain, you know, the integrity of their marketplace.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll ban you pretty quick, which is a good thing, you know, in some ways, because you don't want people cheating basically on Amazon and not playing by the rules. But that's the biggest downside, is they control everything. Like, literally, Amazon could just delete all my products for no reason right now, and I would have no recourse.
Yeah.
Like, it could just happen. I mean, it probably won't, but it could happen. So,
which is why you want to build up.
So you want to have other sales channels, just so that in case something happens, you control your business. And the other thing I was saying with customers is, I don't really have any control over my customer data. Like, I can't remarket to them. I can't send them, you know, follow-up emails to upsell them on other items or that kind of thing.
Right, so you're not building a list. Is there any way to do that? Or does Amazon control all of that?
They control all of it, yeah. People try. One thing people will do is they'll put in like an insert card that says like, you know, go to our website for an extended warranty on your product, and they get them to enter their email. And I don't know. It's probably like semi-gray area for Amazon.
Yeah.
But I think it's technically okay.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful doing stuff like that. They don't want you directing people away from Amazon.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, they want all their customers to stay there. So.
Yeah. Interesting. Because, that's something that I've heard is extremely profitable, is growing a list, right? I mean, you just said it yourself, is growing some kind of list, especially if they're buyers.
Exactly.
And that way you can retarget them.
You know, they already like your product, or probably, you know, and so, that's something that you really want to do. And then on Shopify, you have all that information. So you know everyone's name, their email, and so that's really helpful.
So say that Amazon took everything off right now, and you had 0 products on Amazon.
Yeah.
but you have all of the experience that you have. What would be the first couple of steps that you would take to get going again so that you could keep supporting the family? And
gosh, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably just start from scratch with the same products. Just because I already have the system set up.
Yeah.
But if I was like someone interested in selling on Amazon, there's no way I would try to compete in the industry. I mean, to some degree, I would hope that there'd be customers that are like, hey, where's this product that I always buy? Because I know I have repeat customers. Yeah. So I think that would help.
So let's change the situation. Let's say that you've never sold on Amazon, but you have all the experience. That way you don't have customers waiting on you. And the reason why I ask is because of the people that are listening and myself to know, okay, if I had the experience, this is what I would do. What would you do?
Well, so I would, there's no way I would try to compete because it would just take too long.
In that market.
It'd be such an uphill battle. Yeah, it's really good advice to find, products that are under 100 reviews if you can. Yeah. The other thing too is that each little niche market kind of grows, as like a whole. So 4 years ago, no one had, thousands of reviews, and now 5 people do or something, right? So you could have gotten in back then, but it's just like everyone's grown too much. So finding like a younger niche, something that, and a niche meaning like just like a group of category, like a small category basically, that's maybe newer, and I mean, you're basically, you probably either want to be somewhat first to market or close to, or just changing your product to add so much more value, just making such a better product that people are going to want to buy it. That's probably how I'd go about finding like a new product. But I spent, I think, 3 months or maybe 2 months, something like that, just doing product research.
Really?
Like a lot too. Like I was obsessed, like all day looking at stuff and making up scenarios and looking at numbers and contacting suppliers and seeing if I could get a good price. And so yeah, it's a process, and you don't want to pick the wrong category. But you also don't want to be paralyzed either, right? Like some people do that for 2 years and then they never launch a product and they just get like a normal job. And so it's a balance, but yeah, I would definitely, the advice too to look at the Amazon's bestseller list can be tricky too, because usually those products are all going to have thousands of reviews. Yeah.
It just gives a good idea of what's hot, what's selling.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. And maybe you could click on that product and then go to the seller and see what else they're selling. That's a good trick, because maybe they have some other products that are a little bit less competitive, but still still in a good niche. The other thing that people will do that I think is smart is you find maybe you have a target product that's like decently competitive. You don't think you'll be able to sell it right away, but it's got like great sales volume. You find related products to kind of build your brand around that are similar. And then once you kind of have sales, in the same category, then you launch the next product that's more competitive because you kind of already have a little bit of a brand going. Yeah. So you can start, with less competitive products and then work your way up a bit. Yeah. I think that can be a decent strategy. But yeah, I mean, and Amazon, I don't know. There's always the conversation every year: is Amazon too competitive? Is it too saturated? And I think to some degree it's a little bit true. Like it's getting more and more saturated, but it's also still growing. Yeah. So there's both. Yeah. So yeah, you just have to be a little bit more diligent. Like if you started 6 years ago, the marketplace is like wide open. Yeah. That's why when you said like, do you wish you would have started in college? I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Because it's like wide open. But in 5 years from now, people might say the same thing. Yeah. So try it today, I don't know.
So I've got just a couple dozen listeners on this podcast right now. So I would like are there any specific markets that you would recommend, maybe ones that you're not looking into, but that you've seen that have some potential?
Man, I wish I could give a little bit better answer. I just don't spend any time really looking at different niches right now. I have come across a couple decent Shopify drop shipping stores.
Mm-hmm.
I could maybe talk about those. I mean, I don't really know what their numbers are,
Mm-hmm.
but it seemed like a good idea. So there was, do you see those pictures right there?
Yeah.
So those were, that was a Shopify store. Gosh, I'm trying to remember. It's called like Ivy and Wild, I think. I think they renamed their store, but that's what it was called. And they were selling those pictures for in that set for like $200. And they were, and then I was like, this is dumb. And I went to AliExpress and found the exact thing. You know, they were just drop shipping it, and I think it was like $30 or something.
Wow.
So they created this really, you know, nice looking website that's kind of, I don't know, like home decor and stuff like that. And then, yeah, just
Crazy margins.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the other nice thing about those is they roll up into these little tubes. So they just send you like a little tube. It's small. The shipping's probably not too crazy. So that was a good idea, I thought. I've also seen these like, it's called like Displate maybe or something. It's another kind of like art printing company. Those seem like good ideas to me, just because they still look like they're like high end sort of like, I don't know, like a nice home decor website, and the pictures are cool. They have a lot of cool pictures.
Yeah.
But they're super cheap to make.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good idea. It'd be a great product for, or like a great niche for, especially someone that's kind of into interior design.
Yeah.
Because I know there's lots of like, I mean, I'm sure there's guys into this too, but a lot of girls that, you know, have like their Pinterest boards with, you know, all the things that they want for their house, and people will, or their Instagram, and people will follow them like, look, I found this like cute room or whatever.
Yeah.
And that would be perfect for them. You know, if you already have a few thousand followers, it'd be so easy to convert that into a business, because you already have the market, you know, and your list of people. So.
Yeah. So would that be one of your pieces of advice for a college student? Maybe they want to go get a job in the future, or maybe they want to do something else entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
But like you said, it doesn't take very much time once it gets going. So is that something that you'd recommend, is to go and try to build some kind of platform,
Yeah,
Instagram?
Totally. Like everybody can be doing that. Like, for example, you with this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's say this starts to take off a bit. You have an audience, and then you could easily create a course, you know, of like, look, this is all the information I've learned. I, you know, went through and figured out, you know, like trial by error, what works, what doesn't, and packaged it in this nice little, you know, course for you guys. That'd be a really easy sell.
Right.
So like any kind of interest that you already have, and that's the point too, is do it like with something that you're already passionate about and something that you would already be doing anyway.
Yeah.
And it could be anything. Like you could do hiking or snowboarding or rock climbing.
Does that take
whatever?
Do you know how to grow kind of accounts like that? I'm sure there's a lot of resources out there.
I'm not a good. We have
person to ask about
I
that.
hardly have any Instagram followers. I just started like a few months ago. So I'm not the best resource for that. But there's tons of people on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know.
That know how to do that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Awesome. Well, I feel like from this interview I was able to take a lot away. I understand a lot better how Amazon works and kind of their system, what you should be looking for a product, what kind of profit you should be looking for, how the shipping works, also the importance of growing a following.
Yeah.
So honestly, thank you so much. This has been,
of course.
This has been super helpful.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks, Evan. All right, so this is podcast number 10 that just came out with Evan Chymboryk. It feels like I just started, and there's 10 episodes out. It's been really fun to do these interviews. I feel like I've already learned a lot. It's been fun to be able to share it with people as well. The growth of the listeners has grown actually very steadily and very organically. There's a couple dozen people that are listening to these interviews, and it's been a lot of fun for me to be able to share these insights. And if it's something that you're enjoying, I ask that you subscribe, continue listening, downloading these episodes, and I'm also sharing it with friends. And the goal is to be able to go out and reach a lot of different people of a lot of different industries, maybe have some interviews with some reputable names, and continue just exploring the different industries and markets that exist, finding the problems, finding the solutions, finding opportunities everywhere, the hidden opportunities that exist in so many places that are just hidden from public view. And that's what I'm trying to do is open that up to everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Have a great one.